So tonight we're going to talk about a very exciting, important system in Kabbalah that was taught by Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburg, actually in LA in 2007. So about 15 years ago, he introduced for the first time in English what's considered the second most important system according to the Sfirot, the channels of divine energy. There's hundreds and thousands of systems according to the Sfirot, but this is what we're going to talk about tonight is the second most important. Now the first most important is what's called the inner experience of each of the Sfirot. So for instance, you have chesed, kindness. So the sages say that that's like extending your right arm to like give someone some charity, right? To help somebody, to extend your arm to help somebody. What's not explained is that there's an inner motivation behind that extension of the right arm. That inner motivation is called ahava. It's love, that you care about this person, you love this person. So you're extending it in order to help this person because you love them. On the other side, the other extreme, you have gevura, which is severity. Like a parent sometimes has to say no, right? So the inner experience of severity, which the sages say, is with the left hand you push away. So on the one hand you could just say, the parent is just pushing away. But the inner experience in their heart of what the parent is going through is that they are expressing might. And the might is coming from their heart, from their inside, into that expression of pushing away, the saying no. So that is the most important model of the Sfirot, is the inner experience. Aside from the Sfirot themselves, which are the divine channels which are expressed in all of our souls and all of reality, the inner experience for all of that is the inner motivation. What's going on in the heart? What's going on inside? So what we're going to be talking tonight, like you have a meteor, right? It's coming from a big distance, and when it makes impact, right, it strikes with a force. And really, it makes a crater. It makes its impact, an impression on reality. So that moment of impact, we could talk about spiritual things, that's very interesting. Intellectual things, it's also very interesting. But what we want to know about, especially in America, we're very pragmatic. How does this affect me? How does this change my life? Right? How does this make a difference in the world? So this model, it's called the foundation of the Sfirot. It's the model, it's the partsuf of Yesod. And you can't get more, pun intended, foundational than this. This is literally, Rabbi Ginsburg said 15 years ago, was his first time teaching this in English. This is the second most important model for everyone to know. Why? How does this relate to me? So 500 years ago or so, the Arizal, one of his innovations was that if you want to understand something, you have to understand it as part of a system related to this 10 Sfirot, 10 channels of divine energy and emanation. And anything could be understood according to this whole system. So for instance, this book is all about motivation. How do you praise a child? How do you encourage a student to be motivated in life? So at the end is a big chart explaining all the different ways that you can motivate someone.
Shameless plug.
So this
it's a great book.
So this I
had it quite a while.
So this I sat together with Rabbi Ginsburg and we finished it, and it took a lot of motivation to do this book. I had to move to Israel. I had to travel on 2 buses every time to sit with him for an hour or two in his dining room. And this was, so when we say motivation, that's like willpower, like raw willpower, which is from the superconscious. That's like the expression of one's willpower, right? How do you get things done? First of all, you have to have a drive. Okay. So this is already, when it's come down, as we're talking about tonight, and we want to make that impact in reality. And the way it's explained, you have a brush on canvas to make a painting. You have pen on paper, as we have some examples now of pen on paper. And that's what's called the yuchud of Yesod and Malchut, of that interaction between the pen and paper is the reality. Paper is the feminine, is Malchut, as we're going to explain. So, and the archetypal figure, each of these divine channels have an archetypal figure. The archetypal figure of foundation, of Yesod, is Joseph. So when we can learn from Joseph that it says that he gathered together all the wealth of Egypt, and we're going to talk about collecting, and that's going to be our metaphor that we're going to use to explain this original class, because what's left from this class is in order to give more examples to really bring it out, because it's a very exciting class. It's something that is hundreds of years. This is for our generation. It was delivered for the first time, but we need to know how to explain it. We need to have the words, and so this is explained that what does it mean that we're waiting for the words. So the Arizal, the great teacher of Kabbalah in Sfas, he taught himself about the reality before the first Tzimtzum, the first divine contraction that created all reality. This was God's first contraction in order for there to be a finite, seemingly finite world. It's really not finite, but that's a whole discussion. In order for us to exist, there had to be a withdrawal of the infinite light of God. So this is that much is discussed openly, and it has been since the Arizal, especially. But what the reality of what existed before that first contraction, that wasn't written about, aside from some of the students of the Arizal did write about it, but the most authoritative student, Rabbi Chaim Vital, did not. And the way that Rabbi Ginsburg explained it is that Rabbi Chaim Vital is the most authoritative student, and he decided this was not for our time to write about that existence before the initial act of creation, until came the second and third generation of the Hasidic movements, that they had all of a sudden there was a lexicon, a Hasidic lexicon, in order to explain these ideas. So, in our generation, we have what is new in our generation. For instance, in this book, I discuss the fixed and growth mindset, which are terms in this generation, right? These are the vessels that hold the light. You have to be able to explain it in the words of this generation. So the reason why we're explaining this now is because these are secrets that were included in the sages, but it's like a scavenger hunt, and it's for our generation to find. You have some of it in the Tanya, in the Igros Kodesh, 15th holy epistle of the Tanya. You have some of these words from the first Rebbe of Chabad, and you have scattered amongst the sages. But the first person to put this together in a system is Rabbi Ginsburg. Why him? Because this was the time in order to.
I'm sorry. First person to do what?
To put this to promote, to reveal the Partsuf of Yesod, the whole system of what we're going to be calling the point at which each of the sfirot, each of the divine channels of creative energy, make contact with reality, impress on reality. So we said that's like the point at which the pen strikes the paper, or like the meteor comes down and makes that crater in the world. So we want to know very nice ideas, very nice philosophy, very nice, but I want to know how to make an impact in this world. So this is the model for learning how to do that, according to Kabbalah. So it's a very...
So the answer is only specific to Yesod that he articulated that.
Right, this is right. Because Yesod is the point at which each of the Sfirot is making that contact with reality.
So he's showing how each sphere has to do with Yesod?
Right, it's at the level of Yesod, explaining each of the Sfirot at the level of Yesod. So it's like through the lens of Yesod. So imagine you're dealing with like a hologram. You know, you can see it from whatever lens you want to look at it, and you're putting on your foundation glasses, and you're looking all of reality. Well, okay, so how do I take all these lessons in Kabbalah and really make that impact with reality, make that contact with reality? So that's this system. Like this system was on will. Like how do you encourage, motivate someone at the level of faith, at the level of pleasure, at the level of loving kindness, right? All the different ways, and there's a chart how to encourage someone as in a teaching or parent position to be motivated in life. So this is how to encourage someone to lead an impactful life, how to lead oneself, and how to encourage others to lead an impactful life. Okay, any other questions before we begin? Okay, so this was yes.
What you've said so far is just an introduction.
Yes.
Okay.
If you're lost already, get ready.
Yeah, so we're going to try to give a lot of examples, and so the words that are this is the model. This is the model for each of these divine channels, as it impacts on reality, as it makes that connection with reality. So we're gonna go through one by one, and we can go as slow as we need. And any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay.
What's the name of that book?
So this is Frames of Mind. This is I wrote this together with Rabbi Ginsburg. So that's available afterwards. Okay. So it's each of these sphirot, each sphera, as we said, with the drive to achieve, the drive to connect with reality. So, like we said before, that it's you have loving kindness, chesed, right? The way that it's expressed is by extending the right arm to give charity, right? So we're talking about the expressions of each, and we're gonna. I think it's better if once we go into it, we're gonna kind of give a lot of examples. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with wisdom. And let me just get to the page. Okay. Okay, so this is Haskala and the power of perception. And the way that he explained it is the following. You have the Lubavitcher Rebbe as an example. That on Sunday, he would see face-to-face thousands of people, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. He would look at people, have that face-to-face interaction. So the way that, at the level of wisdom, to connect to someone else, was to just look at them. That was as simple as that. It says in the Zohar if you want to know, to separate between holiness and non-holiness, is to give them an offer, and you say that you can see the king, but you're not going to get anything from it. Just to bask in the glory, to see the king. So the people that are interested in some self-interest, what do I have to gain from that? But the people that just want to see the king, just want to see him, so then they'll be happy from that.
That's also self-interest.
It just not to get anything from it though, not to get anything of their own, just that connection with the king. We're talking about, this is the connection, the yesod of at the level of seeing someone, of perceiving somebody, is just to see them, just to see new faces. Just as simple as that. There's nothing else. So that's, and we see that by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, that he didn't, not only that, did he not try to want anything from it, he was trying to give blessings, giving dollars, giving, right? It's outward focused. All of these are outward focused. So that's an example. I thought of like a metaphor of, on the other side, you have someone that likes to collect, and let's say he likes to collect sports cards. And it used to be that sports cards, kids bought them for the gum, maybe to put in their bicycle in the spokes of the wheels. And even the 1952 Topps, which has the most valuable card, the Mickey Mantle card, they even couldn't give it away. They had to dump in the ocean. But over time, it became collectible, and you have people that amass these collections of these cards. So a way to view it is cards, like sports, baseball cards, sports cards, and a way to view it is that they are getting self-satisfaction from all these faces around them, of all these iconic figures they looked up to. In our circles, we try to encourage kids to have pictures of tzaddikim, of the righteous around them. Because why? Because to emulate them, right? To encourage kids in the service of God. But in the world, you have these collections that collectors are very proud of. And so that's an example of the desire to connect with faces, right? So you have this all the time. It's just whether it's on the side of holiness or not, and that's what I mean. Just to connect with people, see new faces, like at a class. You're just trying to see interactions amongst people, and so that's not complicated. That's as straightforward as that.
So this is because it's connection.
Right, the connection.
Using
through sight.
Through sight.
Right. Through these interactions of face to face.
Why is it called wisdom?
It's said that the sense, it didn't explain that, but each of these divine channels also has a sense. And the five senses. So in Kabbalah there's 12 senses. And the sense of wisdom is sight.
Okay.
So it's that's what it's explained.
Seeing is believing. Is that? Seeing is knowing. Knowing that it's true.
Yeah. So that's the sense. The sense of wisdom is sight. So just seeing someone and connecting through that, connecting through sight, in a positive way of just soul to soul. Also, panim al panim, face to face, is the same word, the same root as seeing the inwardness. Seeing the soul of the person, connecting to the inner aspect of the person. It's called panemius. So that's also part of it.
So Rabbi Ginsburg used the word sechel for chokhmah?
He started off saying seichel, but then he explained it. He explained it, and he translated it as perception is better than intellect. Usually he translates seichel as intellect, but he explained why perception is a better translation in this context. But haskala is it's the same word as seichel. Right.
Because usually it's Chokhmah, right?
Right, but this is the contact point of wisdom. And you're connecting through perception, through perceiving someone else. And he used the example of the Rebbe, and so a lot of, aside from the baseball cards, this is all from his class. Okay.
Honey, do you have any more papers?
Nope.
You can take a picture while we put them up.
Yep.
You want some water?
So that's a direct connection through direct perception. And again, the implication is, like, it was a very good example, is that we're perceiving through sight, through the sense of the inner sense of this the sphere, you're perceiving the inner aspect of the person. So that's the connection at this level.
So like, eyes are the windows to the soul, or something. Like when you look at someone, you see who they are.
Right.
No, I was just gonna ask, can you really trust that? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe if you were like on a really high level, where you could really
The
look
Rebbe,
at
yeah.
people,
Yeah,
look at people and see
exactly.
who they are.
Going deeper, yeah. Although the truth is, if you're looking at Panimi, then it is true that you're looking at Panimi, not the external, I guess.
Okay. So we said, like, running to perceive the king, to be in the presence of the king, just that, nothing more than that. Just without any requests, nothing, just to be in the presence of the king. Okay.
I was thinking that there was like this, they had this 36 questions to fall in love with somebody or something like that. Does anyone remember when they did that New York Times article or something? But at the end of it, you gaze in each other's eyes for like a certain amount of seconds or something like that, or minutes.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to like help you fall in love with them. I wonder if that's like chachma. No, that would be chesed is love. Never mind. I don't know.
It's also seeing them,
Uh-huh.
perceptions.
Perception.
So he says that if you want to really try to figure out who the king is, someone who just truly enjoys looking at people. He just enjoys it. It just, again, it's outward focused. It's not the inner experience. A king is someone who's lowly, someone who's just given over, like King David. But he just enjoys those interactions, seeing new faces. Okay, so now we're going to go to the second one. Before we go to the second one, are there any questions? Okay, so we're going to go actually.
I can wait. If there's 12 aspects, how come you only have 11 on this piece of paper? Not to be too pragmatic here.
12 senses.
12 senses, but
So we're
the
missing one. Right? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11.
Maybe one is beyond.
they usually split. Maybe crown is 3 heads of the crown. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
What are the 12 senses?
So each of the months of the year have a sense. They have a
So not like touch and...
five. Those are 5 of them, and then there's 7. There's 7 more. Like the sense of dreaming is the month of Kislev, for instance. So
Sleep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the 5 and then
Right.
dreaming and what else?
I don't remember all of them offhand.
Teves was iron, so it's like.
There's the Tevis is righteous indignation.
Oh, it is.
Is what?
Righteous indignation.
Do
That's the sense of the month of Tevis.
these
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Do these relate to the each of these relate to the 12 months? The 12 signs of the zodiac?
No, they only relate to 11.
So the Sfirot, I don't believe, because you have everything relates to each other. I just don't offhand know that correspondence there. I know that, for instance, Adar is the sense of laughter. So there's 12 senses. They correspond to the 12 months of the year, and maybe she has. But yeah, I don't remember all of it offhand.
Yabdenu cheshma?
Smell.
Smell?
Sense of smell.
Okay.
Smell is very spiritual.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So each month has a letter, it has a tribe, it has a color.
It says that when Mashiach comes, he'll be able to know who's a Jew based on smelling.
Smell is the only
Unless they
sense.
use Irish Spring.
Smell is the only sense that wasn't affected in the original sin. So it says that when Mashiach comes, he'll smell and judge, because that's the only one that wasn't, only sense that wasn't affected.
So the Mashiach will be a Scorpio.
On Yom Kippur, we can smell flowers, we
Right.
can smell the
Right.
sun.
Exactly. Okay. So again, I'm happy to research any of these questions afterwards. I don't know all the answers, so what I'm trying to do here as someone who tries to edit and explain Rabbi Ginsburg's teachings is to explain this class, and but I'm happy to research and answer. And again, if I don't know something, I'm happy to look into it. Okay, so so we're going to go to understanding, and that's hasaga, the power of achievement. The way that this is usually explained, first of all, you have a person that has achieved a goal. This is something that's very joyous. Understanding always relates to, it means in Hebrew it's bina, which is the mother principle, im abanim smecha. So the mother of children is joyful. So it's like giving birth. So spiritually, this is giving birth to new ideas, or to give birth to finish a goal, to be happy at the completion of a goal. And specifically, there's wisdom and understanding are always paired together. So the way to explain this is, you have a teacher who's explaining something, and the student gets it, and they're happy that they get it. Getting it is like holding on to it. It's like imagining wisdom is like the bolts of lightning. You're shooting it at the students, and if you can hold on to it and grasp it and bring it into you, that means you've hasaga. It means you've got it. There's a movie, Good Will Hunting, right, where you have he puts the math problem that no one has solved, and the goodwill solved it, right? So a teacher like we're doing now is it's a scavenger hunt. There's these clues that the sages put scattered about through the ages, and the job of us is to collect them, and to find those clues, and to put them together. And that's what Rabbi Ginsburg did. He put together all these clues to create this to reveal this system based on the sages. Okay, so that's koach tefisa. So why is that contacting reality? It's very very straightforward, because you have the student is connected to the teacher. First of all, they're seeing each other, meaning panim al panim, face to face, means like an inner relationship. Like Sasha was saying, like you're seeing into the person, you're seeing the inward aspects of the person, like you're connecting at the level of soul, a soul connection to the person. And the teacher is giving out, shooting out these like lightning bolts all the time. But it's up to the person, to the student, what he's going to catch. Maybe he's not going to catch anything right now. Maybe he'll catch one of them. So to catch something means he's getting it. He's hasaga. He got it, right? And that's achieving something. So that's why it relates to reality. Because the student is actually like in Good Will Hunting. He's actually answering the problem, right? He got it. He's figured out the riddle, figured out the mystery. And a really good teacher is putting those clues down for the student to get. He's hoping that the student catches on to it. Okay. So in our metaphor that we're using of sports collecting, That's like what? Well, when this person's collecting all these sports cards, right? There's a lot of different faces, but he also wants to make sure these people achieve something in their career. You know, how many World Series the teams that they play on that won? How many MVPs did they have? What was their batting average? What, you know? And so that's and again, inwardly that means that a person themselves wants to achieve in life, wants to achieve their goals. It's just the person is collecting these sports cards because other people achieved stuff, you know. But we want to achieve things. We want to be the ones that are creating the content that are fulfilling our ambitions in this world. So that's achieving hasaga, and again, it comes from the teacher. It's a student. It's getting the teacher. Okay. Any questions on that one? Okay. The next one is hakara, which is recognition. So this is when the Rebbe would give those dollars and see, relate to each person individually and give a particular blessing to each person. So that's already beyond just seeing the person. Even seeing into their soul. It's seeing the story of the person. Connecting to connecting to them on a very particular way. It's recognizing the person. Seeing the spark of divinity in the person. Right? So you have, like in the example we're using of collecting sports cards, this is already, the most important thing is not the cards themselves, it's that they're trying to connect to the story of these people, right? Like for instance, what we encourage parents to do is to put as we said, to put the pictures of Sadiqim around the room, the kid's bedroom, the pictures of the righteous people. But also we tell them the stories of them. We don't just put these pictures up and expect them to know who they are. We tell them the stories. And the stories are more important than the picture, because the picture just reminds them of the story. Right? The story is just, the picture is just something static. Right? What the story is in order to really impart the life, you know, behind these individuals. Like an author. So you have, this is from another class of Rabbi Ginsburg, you have an interesting phenomenon in Hebrew, that you have a sofer, which is like a scribe or an author. You have a sefer, which is a book, which is like the medium. And what's it a medium for? A sipor. These are all from the same letters, just different, the same root. Sipor is a story. So the book is conveying the story of the author, and it's all the same word, right? So that's a good thing to keep in mind, is that a book is another example. We started off by pen on paper, right? When someone is putting pen to paper, that's where we're hoping to make an impact on reality. So when an author is putting their stories down for people to read, and every good author writes themselves into the story, even if it's fiction. They're writing themselves into the story one way or another. And that's the way that he explained in that class was like an autobiography. But it's if you're writing a bestseller, it's you're putting from your own experience. You know, something that you went through, that you lived, Okay, so that's just another example. The best hero is someone that you can recognize, someone you can relate to. That's another way of saying it. Someone that you feel like you understand them, feel like you're connecting to them. Okay.
I was just curious, like, why the culture is so attracted to movie stars and Hollywood and famous people, and this like feeling of like, I feel like someone when I've seen someone. It would see, yeah.
I had this revelation this week, which is that, this is something I've heard many times, you've probably heard this in many places, that the closest we get to being like God is when we're being creative. Because he's the ultimate creator, and when we create something new, it's not like you took existing materials and made a pen, you created, let's say, a song, a story, a dance, a painting, whatever you do, writing, it never existed before. So you're creating something from nothing, in a sense. And I think that when we see people who are boldly creating and taking that leap of faith and saying, not only am I going to create and be an artist, but I'm going to take the risk of that artist take, which is to do it for a career. Just like most people say, like the most like unstable, like, way to live your life. Like just paint and hope that you can pay your bills, like good luck. Most people will have that kind of idea. But the truth is, that's what we're, I think, here to do. So when we see someone doing it and at high success, I think because they're pulling from the ether, something that never existed before, and we're seeing that, and wow, like that song, that dance, that painting, that story, it's so inspiring because it's piercing the veil of our reality and drawing from the non-existent and bringing that into the existing. And of course, there's many variations of like not such holy singing and dancing, all that jazz, but still there's something very divine.
That's beautiful.
So it actually very, very nicely relates to what we explained about card collecting. Because what was Joseph blessed by from his father is that you're the person that the girls went on the top of the fences to see, right? So that's like the, that's like a star, you just want to see him or her, right? And then you have, you want to associate yourself with people that have achieved, specifically what you said, achieved something that wasn't there before. The whole thing from this class is that it wasn't here before. It was kind of like concealed. It was a mystery. Like Good Will Hunting was, the answer was, there was an answer, just no one had revealed the answer. That's another way of looking at it.
What's Good Will Hunting?
So that's the math teacher that presents a problem to the students that no one had solved previously.
It was a film in the early 90s.
Oh, I see.
So this person, Goodwill, solved the math problem, and that's the whole start of the progression of the movie. But I'm using it as an example that the sages put clues for us to discover. They embedded these clues throughout the teachings for us in our generation to discover. So the way, the card collector, right? He's looking to surround himself with people that have achieved, right? So that's like the celebrity engine, right? The rub shoulders, right? You want to rub shoulders. So it's like you're collecting celebrities, right? You want to, in your collection, your Rolodex, they used to have Rolodexes. Now I don't know what you're in your iPhone, whatever. Yeah, you have your Rolodex filled with your collection of network, your network of these people that have achieved. So that's, again, this is all. Why does a person want to collect? Is because, like in Egypt, they feel like outside of this collection, there's a famine, right? So if they surround themselves with things that they find to be treasures, then they're saving themselves from that famine. Right? It's a storehouse. It's their storehouse where they feel like they're collecting all of these things. But really, as we know, the way to preserve it is by dedicating. So there's a question in the sages. Rabbi Ganuth explained this. It's fascinating. How did the question amongst the sages? How did the grain last for so long that it was collected? How did it last for 7 years and even more throughout the years of the famine? So they collected in storehouses, right? But grain doesn't last that long. It gets worms, it rots. So he said there's one opinion that together with the grain that they amassed, they included some dirt from the ground. But he said something and he explained it. Anyone who wants the class, I could find the link to it. It's a recent class. He said that how did Joseph preserve the grain? Is that he got every one of the Egyptians to give 20%. And so if a person today says that they're not able to save, right, all their grain is rotting, all their money is rotting away from them, they're not able to save, how do you ensure that it's going to stay, to keep? To give 20% to charity. It's a phenomenal thing. Anyway, so what we're saying here, again, is that the act of collecting is a very much a Joseph principle. Right? He collected all the money, all the grain, and all the money of Egypt. And this desire to surround ourselves is a defense mechanism that we're trying to protect ourselves from the feeling that if I don't have this, I'm going to be without. If I don't have this, I'm going to, it's just going to be in some state of famine or emptiness, right? And so we're trying to give a remedy for that by learning how to affect change, real impactful change in reality, to affect real change. Okay. Okay, so this takes us actually. I'm just going according to the order of Rabbi Ginsburg's class. Then he jumped to the top. I don't know why, but then he jumped to the top. He jumped to crown. And the experience of contacting reality at the superconscious, above intellect, is the experience of wonder. This is the experience of wonder, hafla'ah. This is the most important thing to teach a child. And thankfully, when I was a kid, my grandmother, she, with a wise eyed open, she would talk about the wonders of creation. And I'm telling you, this was more important than anything else. Just how she explained, and she loved science, and she explained these things. So, more important than anything else, and this is Rabbi Ginsburg has said this many, many times, is to impart a sense of wonder. Children have it, and then as they get older, right? But we have to keep it, to keep that sense of wonder. So the way he says is to stand and meditate on the wonders of God. So you have imagine you're standing at the cliff, the end, and you have this whole landscape, right? And you have, it goes directly, it bypasses intellect, the experience of it, into love and fear. On the one hand, you're attracted to it, it's koach mishikah, you're attracted to this beauty of God's creation, and you're also, you go back in awe of it, right? You step back. It's like it's a lot to take in, and so this is the experience that we're contacting reality at that. How is that contacting reality? Because you're taking it in. You're realizing that this is. This sense of wonder is something that we can impart to others and we can experience. You have an art collector, right? Someone, I watched some of the top videos on Antiques Roadshow, right? Antiques Roadshow, yes. And I was looking, a lot of them are paintings. And I was expecting it to be the most valuable appraisals. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, and some of them were not as high as other things that had less views and from the same time period. But the thing that they all had in common, the things that were most viewed, are those that had the person. It was in the family. It was a family heirloom. There was a really strong story behind it, and they were more interested in learning about it than they were about the sticker. I'm telling you, you can look at yourself. And it's a really this one person, he's from Fairbanks. He grew up in Fairbanks, and his family saved, and they went to the studio and they commissioned a painting of Fairbanks, Alaska. And it's a nice painting, right? It's worth a lot. Okay, 30,000, 40,000, something like that. But he was just like transported, transported back to those memories. And that's priceless, right? So that's what we mean. How do you convey that? How do you convey that sense of wonder to kids? And really, just the miraculous nature of Hashem's creation. So that's, if you can touch a kid, that's called touching, right? We're talking about impacting, right? Touching a kid at the level of the superconscious, and the highest experience of that is simple faith. Then it opens up everything else. If you can awaken that, then the rest is easy.
It's not the job of the Midrash.
Midrash does help. Stories of Tzaddikim does help. Yeah, stories.
Midrash is out of this world.
Yeah. The more phantasmal, the more stories, the better. Yeah, and it really you have to act it out. You have to be excited, to get the kids' attention. You have the cookies, but you also have to act it out. Yeah. Another thing I actually just heard, also from Rabbi Gunuth, that what was the problem with Purim? When we're talking about plays, you have to talk about Purim. At the end, one of the mitzvot of Purim is to have a meal, a seudah. But wasn't that how they got into trouble to begin with? Sitting with the king and having a meal? Right?
Wrong king.
Yeah, wrong king. So what was the issue? So we said what? We said that we started off by saying that you want to see the king. You don't want to get anything for yourself. But it's a true king. It's not Hashverosh, right? And the fact that they wanted to celebrate along with everyone else, that was the issue. Even though they had kosher food, the best kosher food, they had the kosher caterer and everything. No, but it's the fact that they were out, they were taking pleasure, and that's the side of unholiness. Is that they wanted to experience that pleasure of this king, which wasn't a true king. And that's how you tell. That's how you tell. If it's if they're in it for themselves, then it's pretty clear. Okay, so just to explain a little bit more, I don't know if it makes sense to finish tonight, but we said that attraction and repulsion, this love and fear as it relates to the contact with reality, bypasses the intellect. And so what does that mean? So we set the example of like a beautiful landscape, right? We're both in love with it and in all of it at the same time. But when it comes down to the emotions, so we can go to an attraction that's all attraction, right? We go to Disneyland, we go to something that's all an experience of kindness, of love. But then you can also have like a fright night or something, something that's people seek out these things also. Something that's going to maybe even like jumping from an airplane, being a daredevil, these type of experiences, right? So it's all in order to experience some type of a wonder and to bring out something that's out of the ordinary. But we don't encourage. We definitely don't encourage doing things that are risky and dangerous. But this is to explain again, what is this coming from? And the best way to bring this out is, as we said, to honestly to look at creation as something wondrous. This is from the founder of the Hasidic movement. The falling of a leaf is something meaningful. Everything is something that's very exciting. It's something that is that we can learn lessons from, and we could even turn into a game. Right? When my first question I asked Rabbi Ginsburg 25 years ago, he said that you can make a game on Parak Shira. What's Parak Shira? Parak Shira is attributed to King David, and it explains how all of creation is singing the praises of God. So he gives examples of different things in creation, from luminaries to animals that are singing the praises of God. So this idea of seeing how all of creation is singing the praises of God, and to show that, to teach that to kids. And we've given classes in the past about gamifying reality, right? How do you take challenges and obstacles and you reframe them into a game, right? So this is, again, this is a way to encourage kids to view reality as faith-based. That's the whole idea. Faith-based. It's something wondrous and faith-based. Okay.
I feel like kids are sensitive to it, and it's just getting older that we.
Yeah, we're the ones that have to have the wonder.
What was the question?
No, I said that you're saying that reality is faith-based. That yesterday we were here for Shabbos and the sunset. I don't know if anyone saw the sunset last night, but it was like literally out of this world. The colors that Hashem created were just. So my granddaughter, who's 3, noticed through the windows and shouted, and we all went outside. And her sensitivity of the wonder and the awe of it, and she kept looking at it, she couldn't stop. So she perceived it. But it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna go outside, like as adults, it's like, it's just a sunset. I'm not saying we did that, but I'm saying like there's I know plenty of people that would do that, like. Whatever, it's just a sunset, that's so pretty, yeah, that's nice, let's go back inside, But hers was like, it was incredible to watch her sensitivity. It wasn't just looking at a sunset. There was
She's 3.
much more going on.
Yeah.
Much more going on.
Yeah.
Some of us get more sensitive as we get older.
Why?
If you're raised in the secular world, then it's all about like getting good grades and not enjoying. And then you get older and then you realize like, oh, I can breathe. Wow. Oh, sunset, wow.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you can become more tapped into the important things and not just material.
Yeah.
So I had 2 ideas for how to gamify in a classroom atmosphere. One for elementary and one for teenagers. So in a classroom setting, it's all activity based. That you take them to the park, you take them even to amusement or something like that, or a nature hike, and you have examples of how Hashem is working and present in all of that. So that's and again, this is all according to the Baal Shem Tov, how you can everything is a lesson. Everything is a lesson. And you see that more when you go outside. That's what it says. Like someone who works, instead of learning Torah all day is good, but someone who works sees divine providence more because they're out there. They're out there. And for teenagers, it's all like this. It's all making unifications. It's all connecting the dots. Right? This is what Joseph is, the connecting the dot figure. Sometimes we call it Torah and science, but it's putting things together, putting the puzzle together. That's what this whole class is. Rabbi Ginsburg is fitting it all together, all the mysteries, all these clues, the scavenger hunt, and putting it all together. Kids love scavenger hunts, so it's another good teaching tool. Okay, so I'm going to skip to the last 2, because a class on foundation would be remiss to skip over foundation within foundation. So that's the experience is hiskashrus, to connect. And someone who's familiar with Hasidic jargon, especially Chabad, knows this word very well, because hiskashrus is what we call our connection to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, to a tzaddik. That we're connected, meaning we're tied up. And so what does it mean to be connected? So it's a generational thing. We skipped over the devotion, hismasrus. We can be devoted. It's Iberkriegabenkeit, to be totally given over, to be devoted in that sense. But the devotion at foundation is something that is generational. It's like to be devoted to like a person's relationship with his parents, and also you have like to be one of Moshe's men, to be like on the inner circle, to be an inner student who's totally given over, but in a way of acting upon it. Like to be given over with one's heart, with teferis, it's a beautiful thing. You're devoted to the cause, but we want to see practically what you're doing with that devotion, right? Whether you're going to someone and asking to put on tefillin, it's what you're doing. Are you a foot soldier? Are you going out there and actually impacting reality with that devotion? So that's the difference. You're connecting to other people. So the Rebbe is, or the tzaddik, is the one that's imparting you on that mission, on your shluchus, on your purpose, on your mission in this world.
It's so interesting because you could get stuck at Tiferet and think that the devotion is what's going to take you through. Like, you don't have to do your part. I'll just say, yeah, the tzaddik is pulling me out. The tzaddik's going to do this. And then you don't take it down.
You have to take it down. That's why we say that the Polish Chassidim, what do we call them? Chagas. There's a reason for that.
What does that mean?
It's because it's a more reliance on the Rebbe.
Mm-hmm.
More reliance on them to schlep us forward, right? But we in Chabad we don't rely on the Rebbe the Rebbe is giving us a charge.
Wow, it's huge. That's a huge point.
Yeah. So I just back to my collecting example. I said that since this is also like our devotion, to our parents, also to a teacher. So the coins that Avram and Sarah minted, on one side was an old couple, the other side was a young couple. So it's like we're talking about like stamping our imprint on reality. Like so I thought maybe there's we could think about coin collecting as someone who's trying to relate to these ideas. Coin collecting can also be the last one, which is because you're interested in what country it came from, what era, who the leader was. It's also interesting that stamp collecting is a very easy way to say we're talking about the stamp, the imprint that we're leaving on reality. So someone who's interested in stamp collecting could also relate to that. We want to stamp our imprint on reality. So you have a stamp that has whatever history is behind that stamp. So that's just an idea that came to mind to explain this.
You're using collecting as a metaphor because Yosef collected the grain?
Right. This is all This is all the Joseph mentality, is to collect. And why do we collect? Is because we feel like we would be empty without it. We would feel like we would be in the state of a famine without it. But we have to turn that to positive emptiness, which means that we're coming to the king. We're giving. We don't want to do things because of self-satisfaction. We want to do things because this is our charge and mission in this world. And in order to do that, we have to know how to impact this world. What the contact point? How do we affect change in this world? So again, it's a defense. To collect is a defense, because what they're saying is, I feel that uneasiness, so I'm going to surround myself with a collection of people, of hoarding, of whatever it is, and I'm going to be protected. I'm going to be safe if I do that.
It's very interesting is that, like, turning into a positive is in the sense, like, reality has shown us that collecting does have a positive side because these things become very valuable. So it's almost like a manifestation of the deeper, the good part of collecting, like it's a valuable thing in a sense.
So thanks for mentioning that. So there was a long time when a lot of things weren't collectible. And even sports cards, has been a recent surge in the recent history. There was many, like we said, originally in the 50s.
Comic books originally were like worthless.
Yeah. And originally, again, it was the gum that was exciting, or making noise with your bicycle that was exciting, put it in your spokes. But what changed? That's what we're saying. Is the drive to rush to amass the collection instead of rushing to the king. It's either or. Either you're rushing to see the presence of the king because you want to complete your service. You want to express yourself in this world by making an impact, but you're not in it for yourself. Or the opposite is that you're rushing to collect because you feel like otherwise there's going to be this feeling of emptiness. It's right. So why are things going up in value? Because there's this general feeling of otherwise I'm going to be empty if I don't collect something. So whatever it is, the demand is up and up and up, right? Is it based on anything? No, you have these pieces of cardboard that's worth up to $50 million. Right? But the psychology behind it is important to understand of what changed. And that's also a good thing to keep in mind of why are we teaching this now and not hundreds of years ago? Because this is what this generation needs. Right? This is a generation of collecting. I mean, maybe some people aren't aware, but I mean, anyone who knows the collectible market is, like you said, things are shooting up. Anything with nostalgia, people remember their childhood, whatever. A lot of people that collect baseball cards are because their mother threw it out when they were cleaning, right? And they want to go back to that time.
What's the lesson for those of us who are not collectors?
I think all of us, in some way, we collect things, even if it's not specifically where we view ourselves.
Lacey isn't a collector. Everybody is. Let me say it a bit differently. Is everybody a collector?
I think the more that we realize that our mission is to give back, the less we are a collector. The less we feel the need to surround ourselves with things that are shielding us from the world. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not, then that's...
Do you mean like materiality? Like collecting things like you thought you...
It's the things that are, for instance, one of the defense mechanisms is going back to the past, nostalgia. Right? Escaping the present. Right? It's just a response. It's a response to present-day reality. And if we are the more we properly respond to present-day reality, the more we don't need to react to it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying collectors are bad people. I'm just saying they just...
No.
They just... The motivation behind
trying to relate
to it.
Right, I'm trying to explain the motivation behind it. Right. So
The beauty of it is that the collector makes the profit when he's willing to relinquish the item.
So what I explained here, I didn't get to it, is there's people that are
A lot less.
that are like flippers. You know, they buy one day and they sell another day. So that's a business.
It's a way of defining yourself.
It's you know, you have.
Stuff.
I just saw a video. He doesn't keep a sports card more than 2 weeks. That's how he makes money. So I'm not talking about those people. Those are it's just commerce. It's just money for them.
But even let's say someone who does collect something and they have a very valuable collection, if they want to, that's when they've been spending money, right, to amass that collection. If they want to cash in on it, their profit, their reward comes from when they relinquish the collection. They've sold it, they've given it away to someone else and no longer holding on. So like the letting go is where you get your reward.
Well,
But maybe not.
Unless you enjoy just
Maybe
having
not.
That's
Maybe the reward is more and more stuff.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to go along with the following the belief that the stuff is a shield from reality, and it's not necessarily good practice.
right.
Like it's
so
the
there's a
mechanism.
Yeah, I think it is too.
so
I'm saying the reward isn't that.
so there's
Okay.
so thank you for I need to clarify it. There's a difference between investing and collecting. Investing, like we said, how you preserve the grain, you give of it, you tithe of it. That's how you preserve it from rotting. So if you want your investments to go up, you're dedicating a portion to tzedakah, up to 20%, right? So that's if it's an investment for you, there's nothing wrong with investing in things. It doesn't need to be high yield interest bonds or whatever. You can invest in things. That's fine, But it's again, it's that mentality of you're doing it in order to. This is how you're making money, but you do it with the proper mentality of giving from it to the tzedakah. Yeah.
So, what's the alternative to collecting again? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Right. So again, not saying that people shouldn't invest money.
No, I understand. But what's the alternative that you guys you're
So the alternative
giving.
is right that you're making these it's like the example was the Lubavitcher Rebbe, that he's seeing thousands of new faces, and it's not that he's making a collection of these new faces, like he has some type of a self-satisfaction of these are all the people that I've seen in my lifetime. It's that every one was an opportunity to connect, like to give. And we said in the Zohar that the simple way to test whether a person is in it for themselves or not is you tell them you could see the king, but you're not going to get anything. You're just going to see the king. And so you're going to have people that are, going to say, I'm not interested. If I don't get anything, I'm not interested. But then you'll have people that are going to run for that opportunity. And so we said that a true king is one who just simply enjoys seeing the faces of others, seeing new faces. That's it. Seeing new faces. Then we explained it further, that when it gets down to the state of recognition, to give particular blessings to others, and to understand the story of others and the blessings that they're asking for. So, but again, it's at each of these. What's the law of attraction? And this is why it related to that series, is because that's all self-serving. Ask, believe, receive. It's all like me, right? In the end, so what am I going to get from it? How do I manifest a car, a yacht, a new house? So what he's explaining here is how do you amass things without amassing it, without feeling like you amassed it, right? And the more that a person is able to keep the focus on others, then the more people that are going to come to them, the more that's going to come their way in life.
So it's not a self-serving action. It's more of an outward serving others and experiential.
Right.
It's more about the connection of what I could do on a soul level versus on a very
Right, but it's like very practical. Like if a person feels like they need a bigger house to have more people to come and study, as long as the focus is on their mission, their purpose in life, to have like a lot of people in their home, then maybe Hashem we'll say, you're right. I'll give you a bigger home.
So is that the key to everything? Like
Yeah.
basically?
That's the key to, that's for a person to really make a change, they have to have the resources in order to do that. For instance, for me, like I would very much like to finish this book. I'm doing it in memory of my father and so forth. So for me, that's what I'm trying to keep the focus on, right? And the more along the way while I'm editing the book that I can share with others, then the better. So Rabbi Ganuth said, you should continue giving classes even while you're editing, right? So that's why we're here.
I was gonna say you should have a part 2 class where we do the
What's
other
Who said that?
Rabbi Ganuth. And Rabbi Ginsburg has also been encouraged me to continue this book. So, right, that's the idea. The other things, how many people come and all of that. The focus is on putting this book out, in memory of my father. So that's how it works. If you want to, let's say you really feel like you should be very wealthy to give a lot of tzedakah. You feel that's. The other question is, how do you know that that's really your purpose? But that's what Hashem wants from you. Let's say it is. So then the test is, okay, so then you have to really mean it. You have to really, that has to be the laser focus of all the investments and all the ways to make money, is that really you want to be about tzedakah. You want to be able to give. Yeah.
I heard somebody once said the only thing you I don't know if this is what it was said. The only thing you should be selfish about is mitzvah. Is good deeds, things to bring light to the world, things to in the spiritual sense. So you can be selfish about that. Collect those things.
Yeah, and we have to know that we have to feel like we're in a position to do something that no one else can do. And that's actually the most common experience of nullification. When we talk about nullification in Chassidus, of not doing it with the ego, what we mean is to stepping into our role of doing what we're supposed to be doing in this world. Why did our soul come down? And it's not ego-driven to want to do that. I mean, that's what God wants from us. We just have to do it with the right mentality. We have to do it with the right mentality of. Okay, so Rabbi Ganuth is. I've been mentioning him. He's my teacher. So he's coming Tuesday. He's starting. He's giving classes. I believe here Tuesday
At 1:00.
At 1:00 is the first class of the tour. So everyone's welcome back here at Tuesday 1:00, and then.
This is for women only, actually.
Oh, what? Sorry, for women only.
No, welcome back.
He always brings his recorder, yeah.
And you can identify as one.
And then there's a Tuesday night
I'll
class.
post it, I'm sure.
There's a Wednesday night class. There's a Thursday day class and a Thursday night class. So anyone who needs the flyer, I can send them the flyer.
And the night classes for women only.
The night classes are for men and women. And these are just 2 books that I wrote with Rabbi Ginsburg. This is on motivation, and this is on the joy of breathing. So anyone who would like to purchase that, they're available. And any other questions? All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
a suggestion if you're interested is to do part 2 where we do the second half, or this year we didn't cover.
Yeah, I could go more in detail. This is such an important class. I just didn't want to try to cover too much ground. Originally, when Rabbi Ginsburg gave it was 2 hours, so you can't really cover this in one class. So I'd be happy to.
If you're taking suggestions for another class.
Yeah, I mean, this is what again what I'm working on in editing into a book. So I'm happy. The more hands-on feedback, the better. So that's.
Do you have a title? Is
Not yet.
Not yet.
Is this class part of one of the in that book?
Yes.
Wow. Let me see if it's locked up.
Thank you.
Okay. I must pass out after that dinner, so I'm gonna skedaddle.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.